Hello and welcome into Ticker Property, where we analyse what's trending in the world of property. We'll dive into a topic each week, answer viewer questions, and make sense of the ever-evolving property landscape. We're going to also wear the same jacket every single week. Yanni Mills is with me, co-host. We did not talk before the show, but you're looking good.
Yeah, well done. You got the memo. Well done.
Oh my goodness. Let's try and not laugh all the way through that. But firstly, this is exciting. This is our first Ticker Property show of the year. What would you like to bring to the show and to our viewers throughout 2021?
Look, I'm really hoping to be able to instill some education. One of the things that I have picked up along the way is I get a lot of the same questions from clients, from friends, from family. So if we can nut out some of those questions, bring in some expert, really share the knowledge of the whole industry, we'll be doing our jobs.
Absolutely. I mean, it's an industry that we just want to know more and more about. You know, we love talking about investing here in particular. So talking about property, where it's heading is fascinating. So Ticker Property is presented by our partners at KLM Conveyancing, who specialise in residential, commercial conveyancing and developments across Australia. The CEO is next to me, so you can read it next time, I reckon.
Oh, I think so.
Learn more at klmconveyancing.com.au. Okay, so let's get started. Each week we'll start with a news topic that has raised your interest. So what's trending this week on Ticker Property?
Yeah, this week, I mean, it is something that happened in December last year, but we have a guest joining us later to talk a little bit more about development. So I thought this was really topical. So predominantly in Australia, our off-the-plan developments aren't necessarily always seen in a great light, but we had an amazing result. There was an apartment, a penthouse apartment in South Melbourne that was bought in 2016, $5.3 million. Okay. So it was a pretty decent, hefty price for a 3-bedroom apartment.
It wasn't me that bought it, but that's okay.
It was gorgeous, so I wouldn't complain if you did. But 4 years later, so December 2020, it sold for $6.6 million. That's 30%, more than 30% profit in 4 years. Now, it is a bit of an extreme circumstance. That's okay. And please don't go buying $1 million apartments with the hopes of getting that kind of return. This was a Tim Gurner development and it was an absolutely exquisite building. Okay. But it does show that not all off the plans are a dud and not all of them are, I guess, the wrong investment to make. Right. So this investment for this couple, this elderly couple, was absolutely phenomenal. So normally we see about a 1% annual growth. This was over 4.7%.
So why? How? Do we know? Can you tell me so I can go and do the same thing?
This is the property industry. We are up and down, peaks and troughs, highs and lows. And these guys, great apartment, great area. I guess we went through COVID, so people were realising how important it was to have, I guess, the luxury at your fingertips. Okay. So it was an amazing result and shows that our development industry is really getting back on track.
Awesome stuff. What do we want to talk about today as well? We're talking about developments, developing as well. Tell us, what do we need to know about the next sort of 10 minutes or so?
Yeah, definitely. So we want to have a look into our data. As you say, investments are really important, but it's all fed and led by our data. So we've got a guest joining us today from Pricefinder who will give us some really detailed information, give us some futuristic, have a look at the previous data, have a look at the future data and give us some ideas around what's trending in that industry.
Like it. Let's do it right now. Jason Colby joins us from Pricefinder in the studio. Mate, what's going on with the jacket?
I know, I didn't get the memo. I'm sorry. I thought I was across it, but I'm clearly not. Sorry, guys.
It is amazing. It's actually hilarious. Anyway, let's get straight into it. Thanks for being here at Ticker. Tell us a little bit about Pricefinder, just to start with.
Absolutely. So Pricefinder is Australia's home of property data. Really, we are a property intelligence platform that offers 30 years of data to anybody in the property-related industry who really needs that to help them make better informed decisions.
That's fantastic. Yeah. So industry-wise, who do you help in the industry?
So everybody knows that, you know, you think of property data and you think real estate agents, everybody needs that. And I'd be lying if I didn't say to you the real estate agents were the highest users of the platform. However, we do also deal with corporate and enterprise as well. So that includes your valuers, your banks, your mortgage brokers, educational institutes like universities, government bodies as well, right down to investors. We have investor clients as well who love to use the platform to help them make a decision on buying the next investment.
So what is the data? Let's go, right down to the nuts and bolts. What do you see and what's been taking place?
So the data that is available, really, that most people are interested in on Pricefinder is your sales data. Everybody wants to know what the property sold for. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but the minute I started working at Pricefinder, the first thing I did was jump online and type in my house, figure out exactly how much I overpaid for my house just to live there, and had a bit of a cry in the corner. But apart from that, I mean, there is so much more data available. So The most common data that is utilised by all of these industries, we've got our property listings, we've got our historic sales and rental data, we've got property estimates. The price estimates are probably the most sought after bit of information because we utilise a price estimate based on comparative sales, plus we put a confidence score on there too to let people know that we are quite serious about what we think this is worth. Plus also suburb statistics, which has become huge now, especially in the apartment unit kind of space, where people are really interested in moving to specific suburbs and they want to know how they are faring. They also want to compare those suburbs with other suburbs to see which might have the best growth, which might have the best median, all the rest of that.
That's really interesting, the individuals, because I would just assume, I think of realestate.com and all of those bigger corporate enterprises. And if you want to get a valuation on your house, you have to go through a bank or a broker or something like that. This is a service that anyone can utilize.
Absolutely, anybody. And that's why I brought up the investors, because a lot of people, you think about buying a property, you then go to your real estate agent, you say, hey, I've got this much money, where can I buy? Can you give me an idea of houses, things like that? What Price Finder allows you to do is you can pick a subject property that you may be interested in buying for investment purposes. You can have a look at the rental history on the property, the sales history on the property, all of the photos, the floor plans, development information. This is one of my favorite features of Price Finder for investors, is it can actually tell you what is in the pipeline in terms of development in the area. So it can tell you that your neighbour's looking at installing a shed, or the guys behind you are looking at bulldozing and putting up 3 units. So it's a really great way to be informed into taking that next step, because we all know that buying a property isn't something that everybody does all the time. They generally do it one time, and it's a huge financial investment. So you want to make sure you're across all of the information.
Can it tell you about whether your neighbours are annoying or not?
Oh, look, it'd be lovely if we had that score. Oh, I'll tell you now, it'd be lovely if we had that neighbour score, but unfortunately we don't have that data available just as yet.
I need somebody on housemates personally. I did not know I was dealing with this leading into my house, but that's for another show perhaps. Tell us about some of the trends. I mean, data has clearly gone crazy. What have you seen, let's say, over the past 5 to 10 years?
So what we've seen in terms of 5 to 10 years and the trends that we've seen, we have seen, especially here in Victoria and New South Wales, is, you guys would know this too, but house prices are just going crazy. It's just what's happening. One of the most strangest trends that we've actually seen in the last 12 months, so since COVID hit, is people shifting their data needs really from that historic sales data or projecting sales in the future to really focusing on rentals. Okay. So the rental market now is crazy as well. So what we've had is we've actually had this huge influx of people requesting custom reports of rental data, so historic rental data going back anywhere from 3 to 5 years for apartments and units in particular, in specific inner city suburbs. So what they want to know is, what are these properties listing for in the last 5 years? Have they in fact been leased, or have they been withdrawn? What's the average tenure of the tenants? How many times has it been up for lease in the last 5 years? So we have seen that increase amazingly over the last 12 months at a point of, I think the number was 193% increase from 2019 to 2020 in terms of this specific data set for rental history.
Yeah, wow. So what exactly are they using it for? What's the purpose?
Yeah. So what we're seeing consultancy firms who are doing forecasting, really requesting this data, and developers. So what we're seeing people wanting to know, okay, we've got this backlog of developments coming up. Our clients really need to know, what could they possibly sell them for? What are investors looking to pay? What can they possibly rent them for? Because if a developer, not all of the times, but some of the times, if they can't sell all of the stock, they will retain some, put tenants in there and sell them as investments. They want to be able to be across that as to what they can charge for the rents, something that's fair and reasonable. Plus they want to attract a tenant that's going to be in there for a long time, as opposed to somebody who's going to jump every 12 months.
Yeah.
So just using this data, if you're speaking, Kiana, you can give your opinion as well. If someone's looking for a property out there, what sort of data should they be looking at? I mean, there's clearly so much available. Yep. Maybe it can be overwhelming at times.
Absolutely.
What advice would you give to people at the moment?
My advice right now, if you are looking, say, from an investment level and wanting to utilize property data, the first thing I would look at is shortlist some subject properties. So what you can do is you can go on domain.com.au, you can find a bunch of properties that you think might suit your budget, shortlist those. You can actually create property monitors in Price Finder as well. So you can monitor these properties, create a shortlist. If they sell, if they become available for sale, whatever it be, you can get an alert. From that, use each one of those subject properties to read up on the property report. So the development, the sales history, the rental history, any legal information like zoning or anything like that. Then do a comparable sale. So what sales search. So what you can do is you can actually hit a sales radial search within Price Finder. It'll bring up every property that is sold similar to your subject property in the last 6 months within a 500-meter radius to give you a really good idea as to what the market is asking for these kinds of properties. It'll help you be better informed when you go to put your offer in, so you know that you're not putting in a ridiculously low offer or that the vendor is asking a ridiculously high price.
Does that work for you? What are your thoughts and your advice?
That's amazing. I mean, the biggest thing that I get the question from buyers especially is, am I overpaying? How much am I paying? And I legally can't give that advice.
No.
And the only person they have to rely on is the real estate agent who's working for the vendor.
Exactly right.
This to me seems like a great leg up.
Absolutely. Look, it's designed to help you be as prepared as you possibly can be without relying on the word of those working for the people who are trying to sell the house. So you just want to make sure that you are as prepared as can be when you go in for that whole negotiation process, which can be daunting at times, let's be honest.
Absolutely. Well, Jason, stay with us. We're going to go through a bit of a viewer question, but just to finish, where can people learn a little bit more? Where can they head just to find the
Absolutely.
details?
You can jump onto the website, which is www.pricefinder.com.au. You can actually register some details there for a free trial as well if you would like to jump on and see the data that's available free of charge, obligation free as well. And then we can have a discussion after that.
Awesome stuff. Well, we'll see if you have thoughts on this, because you have your specialty, which is data, but you're in property. So we've got a viewer question that we're going to go with.
Go for it.
Yeah, okay. So I'm not sure where it came from. So the question is this: what time can I book? Maybe it's me asking. Book my removalist and pick up my keys on the day of settlement. So that's a question from a viewer.
Yeah,
what do you think?
That's a good question, and it's a question that genuinely comes up every single time. No matter how many times people have bought, sold, moved houses, the question is, what time can I book my removalist? So we spoke a couple of weeks ago about PEXA, our electronic platform. So it's made it fantastic in terms of settlement, but it's made it a little bit trickier for times. So for anyone who's moving house at the moment or thinking about picking up keys and booking removalist trucks, I would suggest doing it after lunchtime.
Okay.
Because most banks these days can't settle until 2.
Okay.
So don't go booking it for 7 a.m. in the morning, because you'll be sitting in that truck waiting. Take notes. And then keys come once settlement has been finished.
Okay.
So afternoon is my tip of advice.
Nicely done. Well, we've got a minute or two to go. So I'm just going to ask one final question, both of you. This year, there's a lot of talk around where property prices are going and all that sort of thing. Just give your thoughts on 2021, expectations. It can be anything, because I think a lot of people thought last year would go in a different direction. It hasn't. What are we looking at the moment? Question without notice, I know, but a bit of fun.
No. Look, if last year was anything to go by, it's don't automatically assume that what's going on now is going to lower prices dramatically, because that certainly didn't happen. Yeah. So just be prepared for what's to come and do as much research as you can. It's probably the best advice I can give.
I agree. Yeah. We have a bit of a buyer's cycle. The buying cycle goes through the fear of missing out, which is where we are now. It drives prices up. Then we go through the fear of paying too much. So we see things drop exponentially. So we are definitely in a really great time for vendors at the moment. We're seeing prices rise, but 2021, who knows? It's it's a bit of a mixed bag, but I think we're going to see some really great results. People really appreciate to live in a beautiful home and their environment and where they live. I think last year was a really nice eye-opener that we can't just take anything. We need to be comfortable in our environment.
Yeah, I think a lot of people were wrong last year. Of course, Ticket Property presented by our partners at KLM Conveyancing, who specialise in residential, commercial conveyancing and developments across Australia. KLM pride themselves on offering a personable, don't you, yet professional service by building trust with all clients and referees to turn what might typically be a stressful experience into a positive and exciting one. So klmconveyancing.com.au. Guys, first episode done and dusted. We will never wear these jackets again.
No, next time I promise I'll wear my white
jacket. It's like we're brother and sister or something. Oh my goodness me. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
I learned plenty. Yanni, well done. We're going to go again next week.
Back at it.
Awesome stuff, guys. We'll see you very soon.